About 15 years or so ago, I got free tickets to a show at BAM, the Brooklyn Academy of Music. I don't remember the name of the show or the company, but I do remember it was European and it was dance slash performance art sort of thing. And also, as someone who's worked in the arts, like arts admin for his whole career to that point, I should have noted that anytime free tickets are being given out to other employees at other arts groups, that is a hint as to how good the show might be. Anyway, I went to the show and they were great seats. Center orchestra about 8 rows back, right in the middle. Well, for most shows, they would have been great seats, but the moment this particular performance began, with a grown man in a diaper crawling around pretending to be a tiger, I think, I was like, oh no. It did not get worse nor better from there. And it was 5 minutes in, and I was already trying to plan my escape, like right in the middle of continental seating. But they used really bright lights on the stage that bled into the audience as well. So if I were to move at all, I would be in full view of everyone else behind me. So I just sat and I watched, or I tried. I was feeling trapped and a little panicked, though, so it was hard to concentrate. Eventually, I just went to my bored place, which is the part of my brain that recites memorized things to myself. Little games like, what are all the world capitals? Or mumble Robert Browning's Child Roland poem. Or my favorite all-time time-killing game, name all the baseball players. And eventually, I felt like I had burned through a good hour or more of this show with my brain games and thought only 20 minutes left. And then I looked at my watch and it hadn't even been half an hour. And according to the program, this show is 100 minutes, no intermission. So fuck it, I said to myself. And I just got up and I left, just like high stomping over a dozen or so people underneath the bright lights from the stage bleed. And I just quickly walked right out of the theater. And it was so embarrassing, but it was such a relief. I felt for Elizabeth in this week's movie, Dark Waters from 1993, for her inability to get away from Nun Island, for her panic about not being able to find a ship to get her back to the mainland, and for her frustration at being trapped in a script that was real fucking janky. But unlike me, she couldn't get out of there in time, and I'm glad I chose the path I did. Hi, Cecil.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Have you ever bailed on a live performance?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I know some theater people that were like, I will never leave I will leave a movie, but I will not leave a live stage production.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I generally try to do it at the act, like be like, are we going to go back for an act two? You know what? Sushi sounds really good right now. And oftentimes it is because I'm like hangry, like I had a long day. I'm trying to squeeze something, like I didn't plan my day properly. And I'm like,
Hmm.
man, I've just not taken care of the like Maslow's hierarchy of needs within my own body.
Hmm.
Therefore, this could be, you know, Bernadette Peters meets Liza Minnelli, and I'm still like, oh my God, I just feel terrible.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's better to leave than to like fall asleep or audibly like just not enjoy it, because then other people around you who might be enjoying it just see you being like kind of a disrespectful audience member. Better to just remove yourself.
I think that's an incredible point, actually, because I have been at shows where people aren't even misbehaving. They're not even being noisy or rude, but you can feel their
They're just
energy.
not into it.
You can feel their lack of enjoyment. And
Yeah.
that shit drains me.
Yeah.
And I can see it as a performer. Sometimes you can see the way an audience, like there is some black hole of energy. There is some like reverse super spreader that's like sucking all of
Yes.
the
Yes.
energy
Just like
in
sucking
to them.
everything in.
Yeah, and it's yeah, I do think it's good to like not in a rude way. I don't think it's ever
Yeah.
good to like make a
No.
scene to be like fuck you, this
No,
sucks or
no, no.
whatever. But if you can get out even in the middle of a show, just do,
Yeah.
save yourself the
Yeah.
headache and save everyone else the
Make a
headache.
decision, commit, and dive in.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's fun.
I have to let my cat out. He's being very angry at me right now.
Yeah.
One moment.
He wants out of this show.
Yes, he does. I don't know if we'll keep that in, but be like my cat. Just make a lot of noise until somebody lets you out. You should have just stood up in the middle of that dance piece and be like, "What are you doing? What? I don't,
Let me
huh?
out.
What? I gotta go. If we
Oh my.
leave now, I can hit Sabaros on my way home."
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the characters and acting roles in this film. That the
Yes.
man in the diaper pretending to be a tiger is a whole other thing, but it's not far from what the fisherman guy is doing in this movie.
No.
So, we'll go from there. So, we were talking before we started recording this show that this movie is convoluted, uh,
Baffling was the
baffling.
word, is the only word that I could use. I was like, I'm paying attention, right? I think I understand what my body and my brain is doing right now, and yet somehow, wait, is that the same person? How many
Uh-huh.
times is I because I was like, how many times is this girl gonna come to this island? Oh, that's a different girl. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah. I um I always go to the Wikipedia plot synopsis after I've watched the movie, and I, kind of just to remind myself
To
of all of the
solidify,
big beats,
cement. Yeah.
and sometimes it clarifies something that I didn't get. Oh, that was her father,
Yeah.
whatever, some shit like that. Character name shit like that. But like halfway through this movie, I had to pause, pull up Wikipedia, and just read it. I just read the whole movie. I read it. I just knew I needed to know what the fuck was going on. And it clarified most of it for me.
Okay.
But it's amazing how much of this movie does not clearly state what the Wikipedia plot summary states.
Uh-huh.
So I think I'm impressed with whoever put together the Wikipedia plot summary for Dark Waters 1993, because you really, really, really dove in and understood what they were doing, or
Okay.
you simply made it up because you needed to make sense of something.
Yes.
I'm
You're
not
like, I
sure.
this is more of a like, like any video on TikTok or Instagram that begins, I don't know who needs to hear this, but and my theory is if you begin any video with I don't know who needs to hear this, then that means the only person that needs to hear it is yourself.
Yes.
So perhaps that was the Wikipedia. They're like, I gotta process some shit after watching this movie
Yeah.
in order to understand what
Yep.
I just saw and help uplift others in my journey. But really, this is more for me.
I really did feel relief when you told me that you had a tough time following this movie, because I really did think like maybe I worked too hard this weekend. I did a show this weekend. I was just really tired, and last night was like, oh man, I didn't leave myself enough space to really take in a movie. But no, it's the movie's fault.
It's the movie. It's the movie. Now
Okay,
I
so
see.
oh
I
yeah,
was
please.
worried. I was worried because I was like, oh man, we got like a really solid dice roll this week. And listen, y'all, if you've been paying attention to the podcast, the dice have been wet and wild.
Mm-hmm.
They've been throwing up some of the weirder corners, and maybe this is us with our fingers on the die. But I was like, man, we got Lovecraft and we got aquatic. How did we get here? And I was like, kind of having that, that imposter syndrome sort of fear of like, man, people are going to listen to this. And we picked this weird ass nun movie as opposed to something more traditionally Lovecraftian.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, by the end of the film, I was like, I think we actually did a pretty good job this week.
We totally did. Yeah, it's aquatic in that it's on an island.
Like
Like
multiple nuns die
yeah,
in the sea.
yeah. So yeah.
A priest gets stabbed underwater. We have a sort of eldritch abomination that
Mm-hmm.
apparently depends on a seal being kept intact or not intact.
Yeah.
Unclear, but it definitely exists and looks
Mm-hmm.
like tripe.
Yeah. Abomination is
Um,
kind
oh no, the tripe monster.
of
It's looking at me and wants me to eat this bit of offal.
mm-hmm. I I couldn't tell if this movie was enjoyable under the right circumstances or not. I mean, it's certainly not enjoyable as a piece that you're trying to really sit and take in a story.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, is it enjoyable to, we've talked about there are movies that you could just have on in the background. Like Mask of the
Yes.
Red Death is super enjoyable as a film, but
Oh, yeah.
also would be incredible just to have on in the background at a Halloween party or some
Sure.
shit.
Yeah.
Um there's a lot of sameness to the look of this film that make it
Yeah.
less fun.
Yeah.
But once you get to towards there's just a lot of like a prayer type of imagery, like, let's just pour some
Yeah.
blood down a crucifix and linger on it for a while. It's pretty fucking it's pretty fucking, like, iconoclastic gothy sort of
Yes.
vibe, yeah.
Yes.
It opens with the lines of a priest saying, "I am she that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forever, and have the keys of hell and death."
Okay.
Alright, that's cool.
All right. All right,
There's
boss babe.
uh There's a few lines in this movie where people are reading from a notebook of shit that just makes no sense.
No. No, it doesn't. It like kind of sounds like Bible-y. It's not Bible, it's Bible-y. It's like Bible-esque.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bible-ese.
There's a there's a line later that Elizabeth is reading from in a book, and it's like, "I am the beast that was and is not, but yet is."
And yet is, and yet shall be, and yet never was. And that book is entirely lettered in like little scribblies that
Mhm.
I was like, what language are you even reading? Because those look like pictograms. What
Yeah.
are you? What?
It's Simlish or whatever. It's whatever language the Sims speak in the
Yeah,
video
yeah.
game. Okay, so we see there's
It's a dark and stormy night on Nun Island.
none I okay, I have a really hard question for you, Cecil.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it has an answer.
Okay.
Where does this movie take place?
Woof. I okay. My instincts say Italy, like somewhere in the, off the coast of Italy, somewhere.
Uh-huh.
But then I listen to the accents and I'm like, St. Petersburg?
Y-
Russia?
yeah,
Like somewhere in the Baltics?
a lot of Russian accents in this
Yeah.
movie.
But it
Uh
has this like, I don't know, but it has this, sort of Italian, it's like director Mariano Baiano. So it feels, everything feels, and it's all like red, red lacquer raincoats and like dark haired Jennifer Connelly lookalikes,
yeah.
which was like super popular of the sort of like Italian films of the 80s and early 90s.
Mhm.
But then people start talking and I'm like, are we in Chechnya? What?
Yeah, it's the thing that threw me, it looks very Italian because we will open in these like a very desert looking environment, like
Yes.
hills and
Yeah.
dusty sand and all of that. But there's a couple things, like one, there's a cow skull like hanging from a post, which feels very American Southwest to
Oh,
me.
sure. Okay. Yeah.
And every time Liz breaks out her cash to pay people,
It's
it
in
is
American dollars.
American dollars, which, to be fair, 80s, 90s, there was a lot of places in the world where you can probably, and there still are,
Yeah.
where you could just pay people in American
American
cash
dollars
because
is
it's
pretty
strong
strong
and whatever else. So,
worldwide.
I'm guessing that's what they were going for, but I'm like, is this supposed to be in America? There's also the bus she's on at the beginning of this film, where it is just,
Oh,
that's
no.
the most like Belarus looking
Yeah.
bus I've ever seen.
Yeah.
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 All right. Well, there's this fucking Nun Island. There's cloaked, hooded figures that carry burning crosses that stand on a hill and ring a bell.
Yeah.
That's their
It's,
big thing.
Vespers,
Yep.
classic Vespers activity.
Mhm.
I don't know. Beyond that, I don't know what the Catholic sort of times of the day are. That's the only one I know.
Well, there's no Wi-Fi and their library sucks. So what else are you gonna do with your day?
I beg to differ. That library looks the chain library and art gallery. Listen, that's an installation that I would absolutely love to spend time in.
The art gallery looks really dope,
It
actually.
does.
I would say bring a KN95 to that library because it is
Oh,
dusty.
yes.
Mhm.
Yes, indeed. But
Okay,
anyway,
so
it's night one, and already Nun Island is going through it.
yeah, because it's there's thunder and rain and there's the priest reading some Indiana Jones looking notes,
Yep.
and there's a little girl gives a nun a Franklin Mint plate that has Satan's face on it.
Yes. Like a sort of, it's like a monkey looking, it's like a monkey crossed with the the like the mate, like an image that would that Pedro Pascal would get tattooed on him in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I also love that there's a rope tied to the plate so you can wear it like you're like a necklace, like it's a
Mhm.
Flava Flav clock around his
Yes,
neck. That's
that's
very
it.
like 1993 is when this movie came
Flava
out.
Flav.
And Nun puts it on, goes to the church,
Hanging on the door.
banging on the door. The church like collapses under the flood water of the rain.
Yes.
The priest, here's another hard question. What happened to this priest?
Well, he gets stabbed by Jesus.
Okay, that's what I thought happened. It just is super unclear why he allows that to happen because
Yes.
it is a cross floating in the water with a pointy tip,
Uh-huh.
and he
And it just goes
reaches.
like doop, like right to the heart.
All right, good for
Yeah.
him.
Yes. It's a rough night.
Uh huh.
It's a hard night on Nun Island.
It is. And then the next morning, the nun with the Flava Flav plate on her neck gets pushed off by an unseen force off a
I know.
cliff to the rocks below, and the plate shatters. Nun is covered in blood and splattered on a rock, and
And then a bunch of other nuns collect
uh-huh.
all the pieces
Yes.
and then hide them underneath the now sort of shop vac flood vac out
Yeah.
flood what they went in, they did some demo, they did
Uh-huh.
some recent reconstruction, they made these little boxes and they put each of the things and they hid them in some subtle and some not so subtle places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have like a separate box for each shard of the plate, and then they hide those boxes inside rocks that they have carved out perfect little
Yeah,
squares. I think those rocks might be cardboard, Cecil.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe. And if you're looking for the boxes where they're hidden, just knock on the rocks until
Just
you
yeah,
get a
just
nice
kick
hollow
over a rock.
thud.
Then just kick over a rock. It's like the hide a key.
Okay, so now we get the title card 20 years later. And Elizabeth is riding a janky bus full with crones and vagrants and drunks and a man who's got a couple of pet spiders and
Oh, the spiders.
ugh,
Ew. I was like, no, please stop playing with spiders.
no, don't do that.
I'm like, one, the spiders look very tired. Like, just
Mhm.
let them go.
Yeah. And then there's a voiceover from, I assumed this was like her sister, but it's her friend Teresa who is writing to her,
Okay.
which is why Elizabeth is coming out here. Teresa had written her a letter and said,
Yeah.
"Oh, I really suggest you come out here to visit. I miss London. I used to not like London, but now I really miss it because they dress me in a brown sack and it's kind of boring and it sucks. But totally come out and see me sometime." What?
And she does.
Why?
You're like, what kind of friend are you?
Also, your friend left London to join a nunnery and is writing you to be
Yeah.
like, "This sucks. You want to come visit?"
Yeah, I
No.
know.
Why don't
No.
you leave the nunnery and come back
Yeah.
to London? And then we can touch base. I would love to see you somewhere in Kensington or Canary
Yeah.
Wharf if you want to go east
Anything.
side. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even like we could do the countryside. Like London is too much, too big, too dirty. We can meet down in like Brighton and
Yeah.
just keep it chill.
Yeah. I will go as far as Bristol for you, my
Yes.
friend. Yeah. It's it's confusing as to like why did her friend go to this convent? How do you apply for Nun Island?
Jeffrey, why does okay? I think we know why Nun Island exists. There's an
Yes.
eldritch abomination made of tripe that sits underneath a rock that requires this fetish sort of, amulet thing of
Mhm.
its face to be in the proximity of it. And if
Yeah.
that thing gets busted up, then it gets really riled up. And, we're that much closer to the Eldritch Abomination taking over. But here's the thing, who is joining this order? Like, are they advertising like Shen Yun or like Scientology or like how do you these nuns are intense
Yeah.
and their bedside manner not so much fun.
No. No, I generally don't need a lot of explanation as to why things are weird. I like it better when things are just left to be
Sure.
weird, but this movie I needed explanation. This is the
Yes.
extreme
Yeah.
example of I do not understand
It's
how
it's the
this
difference.
works.
It's the difference between like it's a question of motivation. And I
Yeah.
think that's why this movie was so baffling to me is because like at no time do you understand why any character is motivated to do anything, to
Yeah.
say anything, to act. The reason for being there,
It
you're just like, what is your motive? And I know it's such an actory joke of like, what's your motivation? Your paycheck. That is
yeah.
the answer to this.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a reason why it's such a cliched phrase for an actor to say, or like, what's my motivation or whatever. But it is the core of all choices being made
Yes.
for an
Yeah.
actor. The reason it's cliche is because it is the foundation of acting.
Yeah.
Um, it's okay. So there's a couple of things happening, which is one, Elizabeth, our protagonist, our English
Right.
protagonist, coming to Nun Island.
She
She
survives the jankiest bus ride ever.
Yeah, it's a crazy bus ride. The reason she's going to the island, you would think, is her friend said you really should come out here because her friend is there. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. I'll accept. I would like to learn more about our friends. But also, when she gets to Nun Island, she's like, well, I came to Nun Island because my father died, left me everything. And in his will says I have to keep paying you guys a monthly child support fee or whatever. But I would just wanted to find out what that's even for, and I'm like, "You know what you do is you cancel the payments."
Cancel subscription.
Yeah,
I kept thinking that I was like,
unsubscribe,
wait,
all caps.
unsubscribe. I was like, wait, as when we got to that scene with Elizabeth and the Mother Superior, I was like, wait, Elizabeth actually has all the power in this film.
Yeah,
She literally has all the power to be like, oh, she's doing an audit of Nun Island.
yeah,
And these nuns seem, they are not putting their best face forward. Most of them try to stab her. Many of them try
constantly.
to stab her.
Yeah, I
I was like,
I
maybe you should, again, motivation, tactics, just be like, I don't know, should we kiss up to the rich girl who might also be the golden child who can keep the tripe monster at bay?
I didn't understand I also didn't understand why it was so urgent. I have to get there tonight. I know it's
Yes.
a dark and stormy night, and people are saying, "Listen, I'll be going out there in a week. I'll take you for free. It's not a safe place. You really
Yeah.
should." Just everybody take a breath before you do a thing. When
Yeah.
somebody says, I don't know that that's the best plan, you don't have to not do it, but you should give it just
Take
a
a moment.
beat or two
Take a
just
moment.
to hear what your friends are saying.
In the case of this film, look outside the window because it is cats and dogs out there. And listen, those nuns have been on that island for 20 plus years. I think they'll forgive you like a day or two to wait for like the skies to clear up.
Yes.
Because the first guy she goes to, he's like, I ain't going to Nun Island, not no way, not no how. And she's, kind of perturbed. So she goes and she has a conversation, and then the creepiest man who's like your Rutger Hauer lookalike contest
I
winner.
totally wrote sweaty Rutger Hauer. Yeah.
Yes. In like full fisherman's I know what you did last summer cap.
Yep.
And also apparently heard the entire conversation she had, even though it's raining cats and dogs. Is like, I'll take you out there, but you know what? I am not afraid of death. I want to see all the fish eat my eyeballs. Ha ha ha. Let's go. 1 star on TripAdvisor.
Right.
Like, what? And here's the thing, again, motivation. And Elizabeth, nonplussed.
Just
She's like,
unmoved.
you'll no? Would you help me with my no? Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, I told the nuns I would be there on a certain date, and they might all evaporate or something if I don't make it by the 13th. So
Yeah. I think, like you said earlier, I think Elizabeth, well, I know Elizabeth has all the power in this situation.
yeah,
And when you can recognize that you have the power in a situation, I don't encourage you to abuse anyone else with said power,
no,
but I do encourage you to understand the power you have and to not give ground easily. And one of the ways to not give ground is I live in London, and I wherever Nun Island is, Azerbaijan,
yeah,
Northern California, I don't know. St. Petersburg, Florida, or
yeah.
Russia, who knows? But you can talk to my financial planner,
Yeah, right.
you can talk to my attorney, whoever it is you have in charge of daddy's will, but I don't intend to pay it. You send a representative
Yes,
to
you come to
explain to
me.
me what you need the money for.
And then we also get her backstory of like, okay, so Jeffrey, I'm gonna attempt to tell you the backstory.
Oh, I love it.
I think
It'll be brand new to me.
so. So Elizabeth was born on this island, and she's under the impression that her mom died at her birth,
Yes.
and her father got who, mom and dad had recently joined this crazy culty Nun Island kind of
Mhm.
cult, which seems unusual to me. But you know what? People do crazy things in their youth. Dad, after the death of mom, gets real pissed off at the nuns and takes the daughter away and like sort of raises her and is like, don't ask any questions about Nun Island. I can't go back there.
Yeah.
Now dad is dead and Elizabeth has everything. And she's essentially like, kind of, wants to go figure out where her money is going to be going to. Like, what's up with these nuns that I've been paying monthly payments of? But
Yeah.
also, I think she really does have this sort of like, I want to discover where I'm from. What's the mystery of my mom's death?
Yeah.
Apparently, she can't remember anything up to the age of 7, and daddy never talked about it or showed her any photographs. So there's some missing time in her life that is a little bit mysterious. I think she's trying to check that out.
Yeah.
So it's a voyage of self-discovery, this film.
It is. It certainly is. It's that thing that you said.
Mm-hmm.
And some other things, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a cut to a young woman in this convent who we sort of understand later to be her friend Teresa,
Yes.
who looks just like her. So I was like, is Teresa her sister?
Baffled by this.
Baffled. And the young woman she's drawing in a notebook that looks like the priest notebook,
Yeah.
filled with Simlish and little drawings of
Yeah.
Satan faces. And she discovers something in her own writing to be like, oh, I bet there's a cardboard rock over here that I could just punch through.
Not like, what? Just, hey, okay, Jeffrey, you're in a creepy Nun Island situation, right? And you
Totally.
hear any number of things: a baby crying,
Uh-huh.
monkeys at the zoo,
Yeah.
chanting, and you decide to just crawl into the crawl space in the wall
Mm-hmm.
and then down into a river, an
Mm-hmm.
underground river.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Um, sure.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?
no, absolutely not. Like, if I'm on Nun Island and all this shit is going down and I'm as miserable as she says, like, I just get a schedule of when the ferry comes,
Yes.
and when I see it over the horizon, I slip out, make a mad dash, get on that ferry.
Make a mad dash for the boat.
Yeah, and, we will figure out life from there.
I we could talk about the logistics of this boat as well. How are these people eating? How are they getting goods in,
No,
out?
uh, mm, I don't know. Where do you get your vegetables? Where do you get your fresh water? Where do you get your Little Debbie Swiss rolls? I don't know.
They go through an awful lot of candles in this film. My favorite thing, if you're
Uh-huh.
going to play a drinking game with this film, it is how many unnecessary candles are there on the screen,
Sure.
but also how many times does Elizabeth blow out a candle for no reason? And then there's like another lit candle right next to her. She's like, okay, time for bed. And there's like 200 lit candles like right next to her.
God. This is okay, this young woman that turns out to be Teresa, like, as you said, crawls into the crawl space in the
Yeah.
wall for whatever reason, and, like, surprise, surprise, there's a dungeony area by a river that there's nuns in big cloaks carrying burning crosses and muttering bullshit, and
Yeah.
a couple of nuns are self-flagellating. They got the little
Oh,
hand
yeah.
whips that they're lashing their backs. There seem to be 3 dead nuns on the floor.
Yeah. This order goes, it's a very high turnover rate, it seems.
Yeah, where's the recruiting coming from? What's the impetus to stay in it? Like, I would even accept if the answer was Mother Cthulhu Beast
Yeah.
is mind controlling them all.
Okay,
I
sure.
just
Yeah.
need that as an
Just
explanation.
help.
Like, that's a big leap to put on me, the audience member, to create in my head.
And
So,
Teresa seems like surprised, but in a very not surprised kind of way.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh no, there's people committing some sort of black mass and beating them and like, like flatulating themselves in the basement. I've never seen this before. And yet completely nonplussed. Like
but
not
also, yeah,
afraid, not trying to like run away,
yeah,
any of the normal things that you'd be like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
yeah. I remember being in like this really like seedy bar in Houston many, many years ago. And not seedy, but it just I don't know, it just felt it had a weird vibe to it.
Okay.
It was like loud, slow music. It's not really dance clubby sort of
Okay,
vibe.
sure.
Very, very dark little corners, right, of the bar. And I remember going to the bathroom, and as I opened up, there was just a couple in there just like making out, hands up each other's shirts. And I was like, that's how she responded, is how I responded, which was like, oh yeah,
Oh,
no, this makes
oh,
sense. Like I knew this was here, I just hadn't seen it yet.
yeah.
And now
Yeah.
I see it. And of course this is what's happening. So you guys finish your thing and I'll be
Yeah.
back later to pee.
I'm
Or
just gonna
maybe
go
I'll
piss in
do
a
it at home.
corner over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. So she of course just goes and digs pieces of Satan plate out and then she gets stabbed to death repeatedly by some nun.
Like or is it a nun? I'm assuming so.
Sure.
It might also be the blind, chattering madman that they keep in a in
Oh, the
the
artist guy?
oubliette.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? And how did that person know she was there? And what? Why is they so stabby? Like really stabby?
Oh yeah, that there was they did it through brute force, not through like trained butchery, right?
No,
Like they did not know the correct artery to sever
no.
or the correct tendons to pull back. They are just hacking that chicken carcass to pieces.
Oh yeah. Well, by the time we get to like Elizabeth braining one of the other nuns in slow motion, this is going to
Oh
be a
yes.
cakewalk. All right.
The slow motion Cecil, I rewound this scene. They did not play this in slow motion.
No,
The
they didn't.
actors acted it in slow
Yes, they
motion.
did. Yes, they did.
Oh,
And they looked fabulous doing it.
it's so I was like, "What is wrong with this scene? What's happening
What
here?"
is happening to my brain? Like, this is one of those, like, I've, for the first, not for the first time, but for the first time in a while, I felt like the actual, like, not the cast of Mystery Science Theater 3000, but the actual robots being
Yes.
forced to watch these films that are like, we're going to make you crazy by watching these crazy films. And I was like, okay, yeah, I think I'm starting to feel the effects of the crazy.
Yeah.
I think my crazy pills are kicking in.
This is very much a Mystery Science Theater MST3K sort of
Yeah.
campy movie. Like it's not what we watched we've watched a couple movies that like seem like they would be incredible movies for MST3K
Oh,
type
sure.
setups. But yeah, this one is it's it doesn't feel self-aware. What was the like sheep monster of Indian
Oh my
Flats or
God. The
whatever that
God
movie?
Monster of India Flats. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty MST3K. That
But
was,
that one felt like people having a lot of fun.
yeah. Like we
That
just
one
made this big monster and we're just gonna run around and terrorize people having picnics. Like
and
that's silly and weird and
it
fun.
seemed like we know this is fun. We hope it is fun. This movie is never at any point knows that it's bad. Is the I think the unfortunate part that makes it tough, but it's
Yeah.
okay, so now we're going to meet Sarah, who's another young woman who's
Who
dressed as a potato.
oh yeah, oh
She's in
Sarah.
full Idaho potato cosplay.
Oh my gosh. Sarah,
She's going to
she
TaterCon. Yeah.
she she does look like a baked potato. And we'll find out why later. But she's wearing, okay, so you're like, okay, so you're nun, you're wearing like kind of a burlap sack, okay, sort of hair shirt, kind of, you know,
Mhm.
devotion to God by like, wearing the ugliest thing. And yet it's also not fashion.
Yeah.
Like in a different fabric, I'm actually kind of into this look.
Uh-huh.
This sort of like like little like nothing but her face is showing.
It's a
And it
little bit
seems,
like an anorak, like a
yeah,
but not like Arctic winter anorak, like something
no,
it feels like a little bit more like early fall, like cool weather.
yeah.
Like I don't know.
I love a fitted hood, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But she and listen, I gotta say, out of the many nuns on Nun Island, Sarah is, I think, my favorite
Mhm.
because the dubbing works. The actress seems pretty competent. And spoiler, she's a bad guy, but she is the only person trying to like be in the scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's the only one who's like, oh no, you look sad. Here, let me comfort you. I'm like, oh, okay, motivation.
Mhm.
And yet everything she says is baffling.
This movie is filled with I want to tell you, but I cannot tell you yet. What are
Yes.
you saying to me? What are you saying to me? What cannot be known can be known. So let me know what that is. I don't know what you're saying. It's a lot of that,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is just, it's just a writer waffling.
Yeah.
It's a writer not knowing how to dole out the information. So they're telling the audience, I don't know how to dole out the information. We're like,
Uh-huh.
we're the audience. We're not your therapist. Don't tell us about the process. Just show us the script.
Jeffrey, I think the secret there is no information.
No, that's the problem. That's the problem.
It's like you have to write a book report and you're like, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is a book written
Uh-huh.
by Mark Twain. When he wrote the book, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, a book by Mark Twain, this book was written by a man named Mark Twain.
It's about a person named Huckleberry Finn who goes on many
Created,
adventures.
who goes on many adventures, and those adventures were imagined by Mark Twain.
The writer of the book The Adventures. Yeah, it's this script is constantly doing this bullshit. So Sarah is gonna be like this other this like a nun that's there. The other nuns tell her tell Elizabeth, so Sarah will be your guide during this time here.
She's like a novice, right?
Yeah.
Maria, what is it, you cunt face?
Okay, let's talk about Mother Superior.
Oh, okay. I'm into Mother Superior.
I love her.
I'm into
Um,
Mother Superior, and I'm also into her like very gaunt handler,
her
the nun,
Transylvanian handler.
the nun whisperer.
Mhm.
Now listen, these accents get thick,
Yeah.
thick
It's
in delightful ways.
yes. It's funny, I wondered because this is an Italian director, it has kind of the vibe of a giallo
Yeah,
style. Like a lot of these Italian films of the 70s and 80s really did have this. They cast internationally, cast
yeah.
from all over Europe. People would say their lines in English, however broken the accent,
Hmm.
difficult the accent might be for their native tongue, but then they would dub it over
Yeah.
with English speaking actors. And this movie has no dubbing over.
No, no, it's
And
going raw.
it's going full
It's
raw. And
going
I'm like,
raw
did
from
we
their lips to your ears, unprotected,
unpasteurized English?
unpasteurized English. All Kurds, no way.
And um which I actually really love. I really love it. Like
Yeah,
this feels Lynchian, right? This feels
yeah,
like if you cast people who don't sound or look like other people, I mean, you have to be careful not that you're not exploiting anybody,
sure.
but if you can sort of play around for an audience member, I find it really interesting to hear different accents of
Yeah,
people speaking. 'Cause I think it just textures my experience. It might not make any sense, but that's a kind of nonsense I don't mind.
yeah.
But I did wonder, did you just lose the budget for overdub?
They spent all their sound budget on baby crying and monkey noises, Jeffrey. Baboons at the zoo was all they could afford.
Over
So they
at
forgot the dubbing budget.
at freenoises.com. They
Yes.
yes.
So, okay, now here's the thing about this movie. I hate this movie? No. This movie, weirdly enough, kind of hits some beats for me.
Mhm.
And this sort of interview with Elizabeth and Mother Superior and Mother Superior's assistant actually is like kind of creepy and interesting
Yeah.
because this is what this listen, I know we're a third of the way into the film, halfway, who knows where we're at right now. But Elizabeth finally gets her appointment and she makes a point in saying, I always keep my appointments, even though there's like torrential,
Mhm.
hurricane, gale force weather keeping me away. But she's like, no,
Mhm.
I made it. Here's the situation. Daddy's dead. I'm the one to decide. Do I continue to pay my nun tax or not?
Yeah.
What are y'all up to? And this like very old, sort of like very old lady blind nun just goes
Uh-huh.
and Mother Superior's assistant listens very carefully, holds her cross, and goes, you look like you have a very pleasant face. We are glad you came here. And I was like, is that what she's you're keeping this light and breezy, assistant lady?
That Mother Superior language is so good because it is the comic bit of I wrote that the two words I understood Mother Superior to say were gurgle and click. Those
Yeah,
are the
yeah,
only two
that's it.
words I could make out. As gurgle. Um,
And then the assistant, but it's just the assistant. It's like it's almost like something from Veep level of like, like Mother Superior goes on for like 30 seconds and they go, hello.
yes, that's the old joke of yeah, playing that, or she makes like two little noises and then the assistant talks for a
Yeah.
minute and a half. Yeah. I also love that they're like, yeah, just you don't need to know why we do anything. Just keep sending the money. That's it. And yeah,
Okay, okay.
and
Can I get a
let's
tour?
Yeah,
Can you like show me
sure, you
any
yeah,
anything?
we'll give you Sarah will be your guide, and you can have access to the library.
Oh, okay. All right, great.
Enjoy.
Um,
Also, we confiscated all of your belongings.
I know, right? I'd be like, and this is where again, motivation.
Yeah.
Again, Elizabeth is very like, what are you doing with my stuff? And they're just like, oh well, it's just the way things work here. You can't have any joy or comfort. So I don't know. We're just going to take everything you own. And I'm like, I'm not looking to join your organization.
No.
Don't you understand? Like, I'm the CEO of this organization.
Yes.
I like, I'm your pope. Okay.
Yes.
I'm the one holding the coffers, the keys to the coffers here.
Yeah.
So please, I need that CPAP. Thank you. So please,
Yeah. I need my Toms of Maine.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I have a bedtime ritual.
Hmm.
Listen, I can't go and also this you can't just go pawing through
No.
stuff.
Bitch, that's my moisturizer.
Yeah.
Ugh. So Sarah tells her, oh, yeah, your friend Teresa. So, yeah, she left 2 days ago. She had
I
business to
fucking
attend to in London.
what?
What?
What? Huh? And
Oh
Elizabeth is
my
like,
God.
sounds fishy. And Sarah's like, sounds fishy to me as well, which is honestly the best bad guy villain thing you can do
Yes.
is like concede the lie. You're like, I know, doesn't that sound insane and impossible to believe?
Bonkers, right?
I don't know why. I mean, she was a perfectly happy, normal, healthy nun.
Uh-huh.
And then she just like up and left. Crazy. I'm as in the dark as you are. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I love Sarah because she actually kind of sells it.
She does, but Sarah does keep doing this thing whereas anytime Liz, like, so when they're at the library, Liz like sees this book that has the drawings and the
You know, I love
symbolish writings,
a spooky
and
tome of magic.
there's like a drawing in there of
Cthulhu
like,
monkey face.
yeah, the crazy beast woman,
Oh yeah. Yeah,
and
the like the
and
with the face and its eight titties, pendulous
yes,
titties.
and Sarah's like, oh, interesting. Well, I should go to bed. Have a good night.
I'm like, are you all not looking at this? What is in this library? Do you even know why you're here? Why am I? I mean, I know why I'm here, but why are you here, lady? Have you? I it's baffling and yet delightful.
It's super crazy. Wait, hold on just a second. There's a fucking party bus going by outside right now that is just
The Venga bus is
it's li-
coming.
it's you
It's
know,
coming for your children. They're going to take you over. They're taking you all over.
Okay, so Liz also runs into the art gallery at
Yes.
Nun Island, which is where there's this blind artist that every time they kill a person,
Uh-huh.
he paints the picture of them getting murdered and puts it up on the wall, which I'm like, that's evidence.
Yeah.
That can
And
be
also
used
like
against
paints
you.
with their blood or
Yes,
somebody's blood.
someone.
And I love it because it's like I actually had flashbacks to like Ari Aster's Midsommar.
Uh-huh.
You know, the idea of like wait one sec.
Bless you.
Like a it takes me back to Midsommar, like Ari Aster's Midsommar, in that it's like we have like one person a who is like uses art to create the vibe of the whole
Yeah.
community and like is tapped into the spiritualness. And what's so funny is that all these paintings are extremely realistic looking.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, for this, like for no brushes, for dude who's like shitting in a corner next to a pile of rubble, these are really well done, actually.
And this person is unsighted, or at least
Yes.
is heavily cataract,
Yeah.
and can only paint with his palms,
Yeah.
basically. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's doing very, very good work. I
This
would
is really,
buy at the craft fair. Yeah,
I mean, this is some outsider art that Soho needs to get up into.
totally. Okay, so Liz gets attacked by the. Oh, one thing, she sees the painting of her friend Teresa dead.
Yes.
So now she knows Teresa got moited.
And she also wakes up in the middle of the night and is like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start climbing through some walls. And she sees nuns burning crosses and they're carrying a dead body in a shroud. And she's
Yeah.
like, what? That's Teresa. And goes tell Sarah. And Sarah's like, well, I know I'm as baffled as you are that there's dead bodies being carted around. But you know what? What else can you do? You've got a
Sure.
week before the boat leaves. So let's go investigate.
Yeah.
You know, this movie is like a really janky name of the rose. It's like a Cthulhu name of the rose. And I love Sarah's reasoning for this. It's like, listen, I know you think like somebody, a nun just busted in and tried to like kill you with a chain, but you like pushed that nun out a door. That was the part that I was like, wait, literally what just happened? Um, but Sarah's like, you know what? People are going to try and kill us, so we might as well investigate and dig deeper and Scooby Doo this fucking Nun Island.
Yeah, I love the explanation that needs no explanation, but they decided to have a backstory for Sarah, which is I like playing amateur detective because one time somebody came and brought some Sherlock Holmes books, and I liked the Sherlock Holmes books, and I want to investigate like Sherlock Holmes. I'm like, okay, love this beat for you.
Great.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
You do not need to explain why people want to investigate a thing.
Never mind the fact that we're actually investigating, right? Like
Hmm.
we're looking through tomes, we're looking at paintings, we're going into parts of the not the island that nobody gets to see, yet somehow you've been given the keys. Uh-oh.
Hmm.
And not registering any of it.
No.
Books of demons, paintings of nuns in distress in seas of blood. My favorite is when they're like, look at these two small girls carrying an amulet. I feel like I should know who these girls are. And I'm like, I feel like I should know who these girls are. And yet I'm as in the dark as you are, girl.
Yeah. My favorite thing, Sarah is so funny because she's so clearly like a villain, has shit up her sleeve or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like earlier in the library, she's like, "Oh, look at that picture of the demon, better go." Well, then there's a scene where they're investigating again in the tunnels somewhere, and Sarah's like, "Let's split up. I won't be
I
long."
know. I
And then
know.
immediately, some creepy nun attacks Liz with a chain.
Yeah. And
Liz,
Elizabeth is not, and like, really, one candle. We have a candle. We're fine. Oh my
hold on,
God. It's
hold on, just a second. I just had to see what it was.
oh yeah.
It's so interesting because it is not running down Flatbush, it's running down my street.
Oh,
But it is a full funeral procession
oh
happening, and there's
wow.
a whole bunch of like cars with giant like flower
Yeah.
wreaths and Mexican flags and
Oh wow.
uh police like the kind of like the nice looking police
True like
motorcycle
funeral
escorts.
procession.
Yeah, so I don't know what that is for. We're recording this on December the 12th. So I will someone look that up. We'll find out what
R.I.P.
happened. RIP. So if you hear the music in the background, we're just gonna roll with it. That's just a thing that's happening in the podcast. We're podcasters, Cecil. We know how to handle this,
That's right.
which is to not record in a studio in our homes.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly it.
So Sarah's like, let's split up. Creeping on attacks Liz with a chain. Liz manages to send her flying out a window to presumably her death. And
Yeah.
then suddenly Sarah shows back up and is like, weird, what
What I
happened?
miss? What happened, you guys? Oh my God, somebody tried to kill you? No. Pat, 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 pat.
Okay, so let's talk about the flashbacks, which are coming through these weird dream sequences
Yeah.
that Elizabeth has. This movie so badly wants to be The Shining, because
Oh, for
the
sure.
twin girls, the little
Yeah.
girl, like it's really trying hard at creepy kids.
Creepy
And I
kids.
put creepy kids in the content warning because that can be a little upsetting to look at. But these two little girls are cute as can be.
They're
And
cute and they're very like, they're a little sassy.
they are.
Like you can tell that they didn't, they found like the prettiest. They're like we found very fair, very very like fair of face these
Mm-hmm.
children, but they're maybe not so much with again with the motivation. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
what? I'm just gonna stand here. What am I supposed to look at? You, not you, camera, not the camera. I don't care.
You can see that they did not give these girls direction for what to
No.
do when the camera lingers on them because they're just looking around the room.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like with kid actors, all you have to say is just look at this camera, just
Yeah.
stare into the lens,
Yeah.
and we'll tell you when to stop. The end. That's all
Yeah.
you had to do. But these little girls are just kind of looking everywhere. They look like little girls who were brought on set,
Yeah.
not told what's happening. Anyways, it's super not creepy. But this is what we're gonna learn is this is young Liz and her
Yeah.
sister Sarah.
What?
What? Okay. Um, there's some other thing where she tries to go to the boathouse and there's this fisherman guy
Oh,
there.
this fisherman. The village.
The
Now,
village.
what is the relationship between the nuns and the villagers is a little bit crazy.
Uh-huh.
So Elizabeth walks into assumably the only structure on this island that is not part of the nunnery.
Yeah.
And there is a dude covered in blood,
Uh-huh.
just like hacking a knife into a dead body. Elizabeth, being in an Italian Giallo-esque movie, is nonplussed by this and is
Mm-hmm.
like, huh, I didn't expect this on the TripAdvisor.
No.
And the guy's first thing is like, did you come here to see that? If you want to see more, you're going to have to pay. Wait, what? You're, did you kill that person? Who is
Yeah.
that person? Is that Teresa? Why do you have a dead body back there? Why are you covered in blood? I just need the ferry terminal
Yeah.
train or the timetable. I just
Yeah.
need the ferry timetable.
Yeah. And he also is in charge of the mail. She's like, I
Uh-huh.
keep the mail here. Maybe about once a month they pick it up. And she pays him, she bribes him to let her look through the mail, wherein she finds an unsent letter from Teresa being like, oh, by the way, I was just kidding. Do not come here.
I
It's
love that.
bad.
I love that. Like Nun Island, this is terrible. Why did you write that first letter, girl? Did you maybe Teresa didn't even write the first letter? I
Yeah,
think it was a nun trick.
I do think it was a nun trick.
You've been pranked. You've been nun pranked.
Many years ago when I was moving to Massachusetts, I stopped in Springfield, Missouri to visit some friends and just stayed over at their house. And the next morning, when I got up to get in my car and continue driving on to Massachusetts, someone had just shattered my driver's side window.
Oh
And
no.
they didn't take anything. They didn't riffle through any of my
Yeah.
stuff, which was great. But also, it just suggested it was probably just kids that were bored and were like
Yeah.
smashing
Just smash.
windows.
Yeah.
So which meant I had to though tape up my
Oh
window. I had to
God.
get it
Yeah.
fixed in Chicago. Blah blah blah. But on my way out of town, I grabbed a postcard for Springfield, Missouri, and I sent it home to my friend Kevin. And I just had this overhead shot of Springfield with the classic the font of
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
city postcard, and on the back I wrote, "This place sucks, never come here." And that's all I wrote to him. And I think that's what we have Teresa trying to do
Yeah.
here. Um Also, she says what we already know, which is she found a piece of the amulet. I have to prevent it from ever becoming whole. If the amulet ever
Okay.
becomes whole, bad news.
Yeah.
Okay, Liz is having these dreams of like eating gross ass fish,
Oh yes. This is a
dead
recurring thing.
fish on a beach.
And okay, one trigger warning for dead fish.
Mm,
a lot. Like if red snapper, like if 3,000 red snapper on a beach
Uh-huh.
is does it for you, then this is going to be a hard watch
Yeah.
because they literally just took as many dead fish as they could find and then
Yeah.
just told actors to just roll around in them.
Yep. Ugh. Ugh. Ugh.
But there's a townie
Mm-hmm.
blind woman who's doing some sort of macrame art, some sort of weaving tapestry,
Mm-hmm.
something. And Elizabeth is like, "Oh, hello, hello, lady. May I see?" Oh no, it's the Cthulhu face.
Yeah.
And then she wakes up and she's just eating a fish
Yes.
and kind of realizes, "Oh my God, I'm eating a fish." Like like just like a raw fish that I
Yeah.
found on the side of the beach.
Right.
Uh-oh. I think I'm being influenced by Nun Island a little bit. You
Yeah.
know, like when you go local, like, you just try to like do what the locals do.
That's
And if you
right.
see a fish, you just
Yeah.
pick it up and bite it. And we
Yeah.
know this because Rutger Hauer's chattering madman of an assistant seemed to be doing this earlier. So precedence has been set.
Yeah. Yeah. So the guy who runs the village ship port who was cutting up
Uh-huh.
a body earlier now just has like a hat full of fish guts because
Yeah.
that seems like a thing to do.
Yep.
What else are you
Oh
gonna
yeah. And
do?
he's just throwing them. I love it. It's like she comes to him the next day. Okay, the important plot point,
Mm.
the boat is leaving. What?
Yeah.
Apparently Sarah told her the boat doesn't leave for another week. And it's like that minute when, you get up like 10 minutes late and you're like, fuck, I just saw the last boat leave.
Yeah.
Elizabeth in no way screaming, yelling, waving arms, throwing rock, like nothing to try and get this boat's attention. She
Yeah.
is, again, motivation.
Yeah.
She's like, oh no, there's my last chance at survival.
Yeah. I didn't understand what was happening in the scene, which is why I didn't write it down.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, look, a boat. It just felt like scene setting. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes you do exterior office building in a
Yeah.
shot just to say this is kind of where it just seemed like there's a boat on. Okay,
Yeah.
we're outdoors. Exterior
And I
boat
was
on the
like,
water.
did she leave? No, wait. Did she get off that boat? Did she get off? No,
Did
because
more people
her
come?
blank. She is blank stare.
It's so confusing as to what is happening at any moment of this film. But he says, for whatever reason, he suddenly is like, "Hey, I got something interesting for you. It'll cost you though.
Yes.
Found pictures of
Yes.
your mom." And I'm like, "How did you know? How
What?
do you know? And also, what? Why? When? How? Did they come in the mail? Are you reading people's mail? What's happening?"
Who has a camera? Who has a camera on this island? And it's like, mom and dad and a younger mother superior,
Yeah,
maybe?
and
But
she.
this is quickly interrupted
Mhm.
because a bunch of nuns. No, oh no, this is later. Sorry,
This
this is
is
something else.
later. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Elizabeth doesn't even really investigate. She sees a photo
No.
of her mom that shows her mom and dad with her as a little girl.
Yes.
So she's like, my mother did not die at childbirth, as dad had told me.
Yeah.
Also, rather than try and take in the whole story, she storms out.
Oh, yes.
Suddenly now she just knows to be at the house she grew up in.
Yeah.
And I guess she learned that from the I don't know why she didn't go there to begin with if she grew up in some house in town.
And house is a really liberal use of the term.
Yes.
Like this is a hut. But she's
Yes.
like kind of looking at like a little rocking horse and then all of a sudden, sees herself as a young girl playing on the rocking horse,
Mhm.
but then also sees herself eating a squirrel on the rocking horse and is like, "Whoa, listen, she's getting some crazy PTSD,
Yeah.
like unearthed memories are coming back."
Yep.
But can you imagine that? You're just like, wow, I came to this island to like decide whether I'm going to get a return on my investment. if this is like, I don't know, let's see, you know, like what kind of charity should I dedicate my finances to?
Uh-huh.
And yet you end up coming, you're like, oh look, this is where I was groomed to eat dead animals because I am part demonic beast.
Yeah. And there's a blind woman in the house
Yeah.
who,
Macrame
again,
art. Yeah.
macrame art, and this is the lady from earlier, and she keeps calling her Venuchka, which when I looked this up is Russian for granddaughter.
Okay.
You have changed, Venuchka. Don't call me that again. And a lot of I don't know
Just
what's
like,
happening. I cannot tell you what's happening, but you know, I don't know. You
I
know,
don't know
it's all been here the whole time. What are we
what.
doing?
That's okay, because this is the point where just a group of renegade nuns throw a burning cross into a hut, and this old woman, goes up in flames like a fucking pinata afire.
This made me laugh so much because Elizabeth's like, "Up, see ya," and just
Bye.
bails
Yeah.
immediately. Bye. There is no sense of like, "Oh shit, this place is burning down. I'm in trouble. Let me save this
No.
older woman," which
No.
would have been very easy to be like, "Oh shit, this come on, come with me."
Yeah.
This would have been the easiest save as could have ever had.
Yeah.
She bails. Cecil, Cecil. This old woman comes out. The stunt person comes out
Oh yeah.
doing pirouettes fully on fire and then just flops into the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's so silly. Why did we choose this scene?
I don't know.
Why is this in the movie?
And then it's like Elizabeth finally gets a conscience and goes over to her and she's like, "Veloshka, Veloshka." And she's sort of like petting her, but also like you can tell she is like physically disgusted by having to touch the special effects makeup. So she's like trying not
Barely.
to like, she's like, oh no, like, I'm comforting you from afar because I don't want to get that on my
And
hands.
also you seem to be about dead, so I'm just gonna go.
Yeah.
You can
And then we
handle the
never hear from
rest.
her.
No.
But
The
her,
old woman never actually dies.
no, she just
She just
wails into the
leaves.
night.
Yeah. And
But you
Liz
know what?
just splits.
It's like Night of Long Knives on Nun Island, though, because
Yeah.
these nuns are going on a rampage. They are burning anything and everything.
Yeah.
There's is kind of a like, so again, like we're kind of hitting, like, remember Dagon, that sort of like, uh-oh, wake up on Conspiracy Island,
Uh-huh.
and then you have the sort of the chase in which, people are like hiding in basements and trying to get away from the mob. So like we actually weirdly we're kind of hitting all the Lovecraftian beats here.
It's
We're
very it feels very Lovecraftian, actually. This is a supremely Lovecraftian movie.
but it's just so silly.
It's so silly. I mean, to be fair, Lovecraft is one of those writers whose ideas were so much better than the execution.
Yeah.
His writing is just hard to get. And I'm not even talking about
Dense.
like the offensive shit he was
Oh,
writing.
yeah, yeah.
I'm just talking about just him as a writer is very difficult to
It's
read
pretty
because
dense.
he's dense. He just wasn't very good at it, but his ideas are amazing.
Yeah.
And so when he's one of those people where in like it's I think about the movie Idiocracy.
Okay.
Idiocracy is a funny movie when you're thinking back to scenes from Idiocracy. I'm
Yes.
not going to say
Yes.
it's a poorly written movie. It just doesn't, it never fully came together
Yeah.
for me. But when I'm talking to somebody else about a scene that happened in Idiocracy, I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And Lovecraft is like that. When I think about stuff that happens in Lovecraft books, I'm like, that's so cool. And then you
Yeah.
try to read it and you're like, woof,
You took all the
woof.
coolness out of it. Like
Yeah.
I wish I could just like fast forward and have the memory of this thing
Yep.
rather than sitting through the actual thing.
And this movie kind of hits those beats. Like it's got some neat ideas. It just the execution is not quite there.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a scene where like we say Sarah's a bad guy, but Sarah is a little bit like not fully the enemy. She
No.
just isn't on Elizabeth's side totally. Like Sarah does, but there's a moment where Sarah is digging up pieces of the plate.
Yeah.
A nun approaches, tries to stab her with her cross, which is also a knife.
Oh, yes.
But
Classic.
the next thing we see is a bloodied up nun smashed against the wall.
Yeah. So we think Sarah's dead or something.
Or we think Sarah fucked her up. I think because
Oh,
it turns out
gotcha.
Sarah's
Yes.
the
That makes
beast
sense. That makes,
monster.
yeah.
But do the other nuns not know that about Sarah? Because if they did, they certainly wouldn't attack our holy Lord and
Right?
Savior tripe monster's daughter. Yeah, I don't know. Uh,
I
uh,
have no answers.
no, I don't either. Okay.
But I love the fact that Elizabeth is now like coming to terms with the fact that Sarah lied to her about the boat and she has to spend 7 nights. It's like 5 nights at Freddy's. It's like 7 nights on Nun Island.
Uh-huh.
What do you do? And honestly, I think Elizabeth has kind of got the right thing. You just barricade yourself in a room,
Yeah.
eat some raw fish, and hope for the best.
Yeah. It's just survival times. And she gets attacked by a nun with a knife. Liz manages
Oh
to
my
knock
God.
the
Like
knife away.
just the
And then
knife, Jeffrey. This is like a full on like scimitar of
yes, you're
like,
right. You're right.
and I love it. So like, okay, you have to spend 5 nights on Nun Island, right?
Uh-huh.
Barricade yourself in, trust no one. And yet, and yet, I hear a baby crying. And this baby sound effect was giving me fits because
Uh-huh.
it is loud and very up close. And it's just like she goes investigating with the sort of I'm a beautiful actress slash model, and I've been told to walk through these hallways very slowly, like Jennifer Connelly in Labyrinth.
Uh-uh.
And out of nowhere comes a nun with like a 12-inch blade. Girl,
This is like this is for like whale gutting, this
Yeah,
blade. But Liz manages to smash her head into fake slow motion into the
this
floor. It's the
I don't.
funniest thing I had seen since the old woman caught on fire and did pirouettes by the
Yeah,
sea. Yeah.
it reminds me of like an after school middle school fight in
Yeah.
which like they're not really doing any damage because but like they have to make a big show of
Mm-hmm.
it, but there's no one around in this case. And it's kind of crazy because this is where Elizabeth kind of changes, and I think the violence is making her remember her childhood.
Yeah. Man. Boy, it's a lot. So there's a dad voiceover where we hear dad's voice being like, Elizabeth, oh God, what have you done? And there's a flashback to one of the little girls. So that's Elizabeth. And she has blood on her face and she's
Yeah,
eaten
a squirrel, a
yeah.
possum,
I was like, is that a dog? I don't know. Some kind of animal
a marmot,
carcass.
and she's
Varmint.
smiling.
And
And we're
she's
like,
smiling.
oh, okay. So now there's two daughters.
Yes.
One of them is Elizabeth, and
Yeah.
Elizabeth is, oh, she's also recovered. This is another scene that I'm like, I kind of love this. It's like sort of the national treasure, like, I don't know, you have to unlock the secrets of Nun Island kind
Uh-huh.
of thing. And she like finds this like crucifix room, and there's like the piece of the Cthulhu face like buried behind the crucifix.
Uh-huh.
Like I don't know, I like a good mystery. I like a good escape room,
Yeah. Yeah.
but too little too late at this point, y'all. Because I don't know
Yeah.
what that thing does, what she's supposed to do, how is good, bad. I don't understand.
Yes. I don't fully understand either. I do understand that Sarah now is revealed to be she's taken off her potato
Yes.
cosplay
And
and
she was left in the oven a little too long.
she yes, she's got the full latex monster garb, which looks like it's basically your classic. We saw it last week in Santa Sangre with like the fake latex titty
Yeah.
front,
Yeah.
but then the rest just looks like the rest of her body is made out of brain.
Yeah. Swirly.
swirly pink grayish.
Yeah. But she's
And
loving it. She is liberated.
yes, absolutely. I get to be my true self. This is it. I was disappointed in this monster outfit because I was confused. I was thinking because we just watched a person burn to death.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, are you mutated at birth? Did something go wrong? Like, did daddy spill hydrochloric acid on you
Yeah.
by accident? Like, it's not clear that she's a monster. It
No.
looks like she's deformed. And I
Yeah.
don't know what the movie is saying about her.
Well, and it's like in all the flashbacks, the two girls are like both very normal looking.
Yeah.
So my theory is that because she's the child that stayed on Cthulhu Island,
Uh-huh.
it's like infecting her body.
Yeah.
But again,
Yes.
is she the leader of this group?
Yeah.
She's like secret leader, she's like, oh, I'm gonna pretend to be a novice, but like really we just gonna put this the oldest blindest lady and call her mother superior and
Mm-hmm.
just tell her to click and whistle, but really Sarah's like pulling all the strings, which is actually kind of a cool vibe
Yeah.
if anything made sense on this movie.
Uh-huh. If
Can we get
anything.
Ari Aster on the phone? Can we be like, can you
Yeah.
just listen, just for me,
Uh-huh.
can you remake this movie and actually make it make sense?
Yes,
And
please.
not in a like, like we're gonna redo the Wicker Man kind of way, which makes it even worse. But like, because I think there is kind of an interesting movie in here.
I do too. I think the ideas are really good. And I think in the spirit, the thing that makes this the most Lovecraftian is that it's poorly written. And it's
Yes, yeah,
just yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. So we learn that father was a mortal man and that
yeah,
mother was the being of eternal sorrow,
uh-huh, yeah.
which is just to say dad fell in love. You love who you love, by the way.
That's it.
But he fell in love with, I would say, like a 20-foot long tripe monster.
Yeah,
And good for him.
yeah.
But you have to know that the kiddos are going to take on some traits of
A
mother,
little bit from
some of
you, a
father.
little bit from your
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah. Some, you have your father's eyes and you have your mother's appetite for muskrats or whatever.
For carnage.
For
Yeah.
carnage. Yeah. So we flash back to now the little girl who gave Nun the Flava Flav Franklin mint
Yes.
plate on a rope,
Yeah.
and that turned out to be young Elizabeth.
Yes.
For
Giving it to her mother, maybe?
no, got it from
And
her
that's how her
mother.
mother
Like,
died, right? Like that was her
oh,
mother.
is that
Like
mother and father, the
that was,
priest
I
and the
think,
nun?
oh, no, that's
No,
not, no, the priest dies. That can't be father. But I
no,
think
you're right.
that's mother that's pushed off the rock in the very beginning, like that breaks the amulet. I think that's mother.
Oh, I thought Mother was the monster in the basement, the tripe monster in the basement that wants the plates to be put back together because it's
Oh,
monster.
oh,
Mother is actually Mother is actually some variation of like
okay.
Satan beast that wants to be
Yeah, yeah,
set
yeah, yeah,
free
yeah.
into the world.
Okay.
And that's little girl Elizabeth helping mommy do that. But again, I don't think there's a correct answer, Cecil, because I don't think a correct answer was ever written.
Please solve for X. There
Yeah,
is no X.
it's it's a little bit like you're if you're a professor and you give your students a quiz and you're like, why was the Treaty of Ghent signed? And then you actually don't know. You just want people to tell
You're
you.
just trying to find out.
Yeah, you're just trying to find out what was the Treaty of Ghent? When did it happen? Why?
What were the things that led up to it?
Yeah.
And what were the repercussions that happened after it?
Yeah. It totally is what's happening here, which is I don't think they knew either.
Now, what I do know
Uh-huh.
is that dead nuns next to piles of dirt with candles on them, it seems to be the way this film ends. And I think about you when I'm watching this. I'm like, look at those dirt piles. This movie relies very heavily on dirt piles with candles and nuns artfully displayed.
It's very chic. I've been furniture shopping a lot. You see this set up in West Elm all the time. Like this
Yeah.
is the thing that people are doing in their homes. It's
Rubble.
yeah, rubble. Yeah, absolutely. We
Rubble
saw it
chic.
in the city of San Antonio was really into piles of rubble.
They love their rubble piles.
They adore it. It's so great. They have carriages that ride around the rubble and people take pictures of it.
Oh, look at this rubble. This rubble reminds me of the rubble that we got married next to. Do you remember that? This rubble looks just like that. Now, who killed these nuns? Why these nuns are dead? Unclear.
Fully unclear.
But we've got, okay, so we finally got our two girls.
Uh-huh.
Elizabeth is fully kind of, she's remembered all the things. She remembers that, her weird parentage. Sarah's like, yes, embrace the dark side, being fully the emperor here.
Yeah.
And they like bring the last element of the Flava Flav
Uh-huh.
thing,
Uh-huh.
amulet, place it down, and then the monster's trying to break out. The monster starts eating a couple of nuns. I think
Yeah.
that's how a lot of those nuns died.
Yep.
And this is where just like one nun is tied up in the corner, unknown how she got there. I mean, Sarah probably, because, Sarah's kind of crazy like that. But a hand that looks like just a normal ass hand
Uh-huh.
reaches into this nun, and kind of similar to like that scene in Serial Mom a few weeks ago, in which inexplicably pulls out just awful.
Uh-huh.
This is, I don't take notes, but this was the note I wrote down in my head. Arby's. I am the meats.
Yep.
I was like,
Unbelievable.
listen, Arby's, if you're listening, I love you. Your new ad campaign should be Arby's. I am the meats.
You could get the rights to this film so cheaply, Arby's. Holy God.
And it's just like everything is like a French dip. Everything is like, you're like, oh, thank you. And they like make into a French dip sandwich.
Gross. It's so gross. So, all right. Liz is eating the guts of this nun she's pulled shit out of.
Because, yes, she
Flashback
likes to feed.
she likes to feed just like when she was a little girl. And this line with the little girl being like, Daddy, it's winning. Daddy, it's winning. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this phrasing? I'm so confused. Elizabeth and Sarah have the plate is whole again, and they're
Yes.
doing some type of undefined ritual.
Uh-huh.
Again, please just lay out what the plan is a little bit.
And
like Last Crusade, Indiana Jones, those
Yeah.
types of movies, like they kind of tell you, however silly you may think it may be, only the penitent man will pass. Oh, the penitent man kneels, kneel, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Cool. That's how you just explain what the
Yes.
logic is. These two actors are just holding a plate in midair, and then Liz smashes it and runs away, and I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's so instantaneous. It's like, okay, the Cthulhu is winning. Really, I think Cthulhu is just, and we got this in the gobbledygook, Bibleese segment of like, and the beast shall be given power that only the beast shall have, and that power shall be beastly, and have by the beast the power of the beast. And all shall look upon the beast and despair. But I think Cthulhu is actually just really vain and just likes to look at pictures of itself.
Yeah. It's the
And
best
that's all
thing
they, and
Cthulhu has is its pictures.
they're like, here you go. This
Yeah.
is what you look like. That's what you look like. No, I don't. I don't make that face. That's what you look like, man.
Uh-huh.
Your tentacles and your unknowable swirlies.
So now we've got all these dead nuns and dead fish on a beach, and then we see another nun showing up, and she's got the Flava Flav plate around her neck.
Yeah.
And we pan up,
blind.
and it is Elizabeth with her cataract contact lenses in. She's just like Mother Superior, but younger. The end.
Because the whole thing is like when you see the face of the beast, you go blind because you are now cursed to see the face of the beast forever.
Yeah.
So essentially, everyone on this island has now been murdered,
Yeah.
except for Elizabeth. But Elizabeth becomes kind of the watcher on the wall that
The
is going to keep
Sentinel.
the sentinel. Yes, it's
Yeah.
the sentinel vibe
Yeah.
to keep Cthulhu at bay.
Yeah. It's so funny because I just did a show with the Neo Futurists this weekend, and Meg Bashwinter did her play of This Is Why I Can't Take a Pottery Class, which is a play about why I can't take a pottery class. And it's because she'll take a pottery class, she'll enjoy it, she'll keep coming back, and then pretty soon she'll be volunteering at the pottery studio. She'll be running their calendar, she'll be setting their schedule, she'll even have instructions on how to take care of the kiln. And of course, no one will take care of the kiln. It's very easy. I've put up instructions. Before
Mhm.
she knows it, she's turned it into a nonprofit and she's the head of the board. And she's just like, her whole life is tied up in managing the affairs of something she didn't need to get involved
Didn't
with.
eat, yeah, just wanted like something to fill her. Yeah.
And it's very funny. It's such a funny, funny play, and it's so true. And that's,
But
I
this is the
feel for poor
story.
Elizabeth. I'm like, you didn't need to do this. You had all the power. You did not need to control what's happening on Nun Island. You
Yeah.
just simply needed to cancel your subscription,
Unsubscribe.
unsubscribe. This is what happens when you don't get one of those things that helps you see your subscriptions. You need to
That's right.
check your bank and credit card statements, y'all.
Yeah. You're like, I keep getting this weird. It's like it just says Nun Island, Latvia. And I
Yeah.
don't know what I've been paying thousands of pounds for this every
Mhm.
year. What the fuck?
Yeah. So yeah, that's the moral of this movie. Shall we rate this film?
Let's unsubscribe this movie.
Unsubscribe. How approachable is this movie if you're horror film averse? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least approachable and 10 being super approachable. I would give Dark Waters like 3 Flava Flavs out of 10. Like the thing is, like, I don't think this movie is scary. I think it's really silly, but it does have gore in it. It's got
Yeah,
body horror. It's got dead animals. The dead fish is kind of gag worthy, gross when
yeah.
she's chomping on that.
And it's also
Um,
like, I mean, especially like, I don't know, especially a lot of these movies, 60s, 70s, 80s, like the animal cruelty of just like, you're
yeah,
like, they like at one point, there's a dude eating like just a whole stingray, like kind of thing. You're like, oh no, animals makes my
yeah,
heart hurt
yep,
a little bit.
yep. I agree. So I would say, yeah, 3 out of 10 for approachability. I wouldn't, for a lot of reasons. I probably just would steer clear. See, so what about you as a horror film?
This movie is baffling
Uh huh.
because I walked away thinking this movie actually does some kind of cool shit,
Yeah.
but does it in a way that I cannot condone. I was like, it took me there. Like it actually, there are moments where I was like, wow, I was really nervous that this movie was going to be a dud. It's not a dud, but it's also not a success.
No.
So for that reason, I give Dark Waters 4
Mm-hmm.
blood murals
Mm-hmm.
painted in the oubliette. Oh, that was never explained. What
Nope.
happened to that dude? Who's feeding him? Unknown. And that's why. Good ideas, real weird.
Real weird. Shall we? Let's find out what movie we're going to watch next. You have a scare die. I have a style die. We'll roll those up. See what movie matches those two things. So if you roll a 1, Cecil, our next movie scare is a ghost. 2, a monster. 3, a vampire. 4, a zombie. 5, when these are very traditional. I love this. 5, when animals attack. And 6, a wild card. Whatever scare we want. What you got?
Okay, we've had some weird rolls, so I'm shaking it up really hard here.
Okay, good.
That's a 3.
All right. Well, we're right on top of that vampire. And we're going to match your vampire with whatever style I roll. If we roll a 1, it's a Asian horror movie. 2, something before 1950. If I roll a 3, it's a sequel, a prequel, or a remake. 4, a rural horror movie. 5, a psychological. 5, psychological or bloodless horror. And 6, prestige horror. Okay, what do we have here? I have got a 4. That is rural horror.
Okay.
Rural horror.
Rural juror.
Rural horror vampire. Okay, we've got some decent ones on here.
I've got a couple, yeah.
Yeah. So you've got well, tell me about the ones that you put on here.
Okay. The first one is called Isle of the Dead from 1945. And we got this because we had pre 1950s on there, and this one looks kind of cool. It's like a black and white film, very similar to Nun Island, except you discover Vampire Island.
Okay, love it, love
But
it.
kind of interesting. This is one that I don't think I've ever seen this film in its entirety. It was kind of like on USA when I
Mm-hmm.
was a kid, and it's pretty violent, and I know that it was cut to ribbons for like content and for commercials, but it's near dark.
This is Catherine Bigelow.
Catherine Bigelow, it's like dystopian
Mm-hmm.
vampire cowboy kind of vibe. So like
Yes.
dusty, kind of like a bit like Dust Devil was, but with
Yeah.
vampires.
Yeah.
And I don't know, everybody, it's kind of a sleeper hit sort of film. I think like really, I don't know, might be kind of a good, but definitely rural, definitely vampires.
This is one I've been wanting to see for a long time because I think Catherine Bigelow is pretty amazing as a filmmaker. Like her stuff is very good. Like it clips
Yeah.
along, it moves. She's really
Yeah.
great at action movies
At
and
character, like character
character.
development,
Yeah.
all the things that Dark Waters did not do,
Yeah.
bring it, Catherine Bigelow.
The one knock against this movie is that it is not available for streaming right now. It
No
is one of those movies
way.
that it just I don't think it's available. Now, we might dig it up on a YouTube somewhere
Oh,
illegally,
I
but
know, but that's so janky.
it's so janky. I hate doing that. So,
Fuck.
might
Oh,
be
that
off the
sucks.
table, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, we have another one. This is From Dusk Till Dawn. Quentin Tarantino,
Classic.
George Clooney,
Yep, Robert
uh,
Rodriguez,
yep,
director.
running from the law, and they run into a biker bar on the border of Mexico, run by a vampire queen.
I have not seen this movie since it came out in the theaters.
I think it's kind of same.
I saw this in college and there it was. So, would be fun to rewatch. I remember liking it.
Yeah,
I haven't
but definitely like
avoided it,
hits
but
vampire and hits There's Nowhere to Run.
yep, it's very rural.
Yep.
So those are great. Let's see what our letterboxed followers had to say. Squin gives us The Night Flyer
Oh,
from 1997.
okay.
I do not know this movie at all. Hold on 2 seconds here. Did I spell it wrong? I'm not getting
Oh,
this.
this is a Stephen King, looks like sort of direct to like on TV. Oh, this looks a little ridiculous.
Okay. Okay. Vampire with an airplane haunting rural airports.
Yep. But it's got Miguel Ferrer in it, who I love forever.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I do not know this movie
Yeah, this is a New
whatsoever.
Line Cinema like Stephen King joint.
Okay. All right.
Okay, serial killer who stalks people by airplane.
Uh,
And oh my God, there's actually a character called Dwight Renfield. Ah, Stephen King in the 90s.
Katie gives us the Velvet Vampire, which
Oh,
the rural aspect is it's in the desert. I think this is let's see, this is an American film. 1971. Married couple accept the invitation of mysterious vixen Diane LeFanu to visit her in her secluded desert estate.
uh-oh.
So I'm wondering if this is a little bit in the vampire sexploitation
Oh
thing
yeah,
of
this is like
yeah.
Lesbos Vampiros kind
Yeah,
of.
that's what it looks like to me. That's fun.
I mean, it could be fun.
What is Stakeland? Ganymede's Cup gives us Stakeland.
Post-apocalyptic horror in which a couple of survivors seek a safe haven from all the vampires everywhere. Okay, so this is like, vampires have taken over the world kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's almost like a zombie apocalypse film, but with vampires, is what this looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks fun, action-y, maybe?
Yeah,
Possibly? Like it might be in kind of the 30 Days of Night camp
but
of
also fun as in like dark,
ah,
dork,
yeah, dark.
dark-sided.
75% on Rotten Tomatoes, so doing really
Okay.
well. Oh, and there's also Weaponized Toaster gives us John Carpenter's Vampires.
Yes. Yes. Which is another similar vibes of like, vampire hunting in the New Mexico desert.
Mm-hmm.
So vampire cowboy bebop.
I like that. I like that log line. James Woods and Daniel Baldwin and Cheryl Lee. What a cast.
I mean,
And it looks fun.
it's another John Carpenter, so,
Mm-hmm.
in the hands of a maestro.
Yeah. Well, sadly, Near Dark isn't there
I know.
for us,
Bummer.
but what do we have? We've got From Dusk Till Dawn,
Yeah.
which that's another Hands of Maestros.
Yeah.
Um, we've got well shit, we've got this amazing looking Lesbos Vampiros thing looking movie, which I'm a little iffy on because I remember some of those movies are just kind of tough to watch.
Yeah.
Um,
And after this week, after Dark Waters,
yeah,
I think we should go John Carpenter's Vampires or From Dusk Till Dawn.
yeah,
Like, let's watch a Holly ass wood movie with
yeah.
plot and characters and editing and scenes and motivation.
If it were truly available anywhere streaming, I think my number one choice would be Near Dark.
I know, me too.
But I like this notion of let's stick to directors that we know are going to be incredible. Robert Rodriguez, Catherine Bigelow, and John Carpenter, all
Yeah.
amazing. Why don't we do From Dusk Till Dawn? Let's just get a super polished Hollywood
Yes.
movie with Hollywood casting,
Yeah.
Hollywood director, writer, etc.
Sounds great.
Let's do From Dusk Till Dawn. Listen, if y'all have oh no, let's back up. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Cecil, for talking with me. And if y'all got thoughts on Dark Waters or ideas for other movies that would have been your good rural vampire movie, let us know on Instagram at Random Horror 9 or over on Patreon, where we have public discussion threads for every episode, and you don't have to be a paying member to participate in those. So watch From Dusk Till Dawn 1996 with us this week, and come on back next Tuesday for a new episode. Have a restful night with no one hiding your demon plate in a secret dungeon or nothing. Boo.